For those familiar with my channel, you know that I love Elgato products. I use them for every video and stream. I have the Stream Deck, the Stream Deck Plus, I got the pedal down there, and I even have the CamLink Pro installed in my computer. I know a lot about Elgato products, and I do realize they are not cheap. But on top of the fact that they're incredibly well made, I feel like the software is second to none, and that makes them worth the price. So when Razer asked me if I wanted to check out their Stream Controller X, I figured, why not? I'm sure my audience would want to know how it stacks up against the Elgato Stream Deck. I know I want to know. So today, we're gonna find out. Let's get to it! Let's get right into opening the box to see what we have here. Super compact box, as you can see. Nice little carrying handle. And let's go ahead and open this thing up. Looks like USB to USB-C cable. Well, this is nice and black with silver writing, so if you ever have any intention of reading it, well, good luck. Ooh. Sticker. Nothing. So this is the floor pad, and there we go. Pretty cool setup. It definitely sticks to the table, which I think is really neat. It's not going anywhere. Nice little durable little box. I'm really excited to see how easy this thing is to set up and use. So how difficult is this to install? Well, all you have to do is plug it in, and you notice in the bottom right hand corner we get a little notification that it's been found. Then a few moments later, the install just pops up. So basically you could just install the regular piece of this, just the one piece. The rest is for different things that you may or may not have. And then about halfway through, the Loop Deck install pops up and you just click next through this. Now you can't have OBS open when you're installing this or it will die. But once it's done, then the Razer gaming software piece will just finish installing, and it will come to this, and you're not really going to use that all that much anyways, so I wasn't all that concerned about it. Mainly we're going to be using the Loop Deck piece, and the Loop Deck automatically comes up after a few moments as well. And once it does, you come up to this screen. It just has a bunch of questions or a little bit of information about getting started with Loop Deck. You can push the button on the actual Stream Commander, or you could push the buttons on the screen. Then it brings you fully into the Loop Deck software, where it has a little tutorial that it will walk you through as well, which includes some videos and that sort of stuff. And you are welcome to partake in this little tutorial. The software can seem a touch confusing when you begin, so it doesn't hurt for it to tell you everything you need to know. But this is what it comes up to once it's totally finished doing all that stuff. Okay, so how does this little guy work? Well, it comes set up with a whole bunch of things that you can already use. You know, you have your OBS, which will open OBS and Twitter, and so if you press any one of these buttons, it's going to open that specific application, like YouTube or Instagram or anything like that. If you press this one, it will open your Loop Deck software. And this one is volume and that sort of stuff. So if you press them, it will bring up a menu. So you can mute your different applications like Chrome, OBS, Steam, stuff like that. So this will basically mute anything. And this right here will mute microphones. So you can put in whatever microphones you want. These are just kind of pre-set up. If we go over here, you can put your OBS into studio mode or out of studio mode. Different things like that. These are already set up. I mean, they already have a Twitch ad set up, so you can just press the ad thing. These will actually make you live or not live. All this sort of stuff is already set up in the basics. And then you've got a bunch of Twitch chat things and all that sort of stuff set up already right here. And then you even have some soundboard stuff set up that's already included. Those are the 4 pages that are already set up in the basic profile. So if we go and we take a look at the Loop Deck software over here, if you're interested, those are all stored in the stored custom actions. So we can go into the applications and you can see that you've got your BattleNet right here, and Chrome, OBS, Razer, Synapse, and Steam. Those are just buttons that are here that are already set up in the application actions. In the sound actions, that's where we have our soundboard. So if we go over to the soundboard, you'll see the same ones here. Boom, clapping, sad, all that sort of stuff right there. And then on web pages, you've got, if we go back to the web page thing, but you've got Discord, Facebook, Instagram, all that sort of stuff already set up so that you can just drag it on there if you don't see it or whatever you want to do. Now, obviously, they're already here. You've got Discord and Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube, and all that stuff is already all set up right here if that's what you want to do. But most people are not going to really want to start with the custom stuff that's already set up. You're going to want to set up your own. So in order to do that, you just go up here, and in your main profile, you're just going to add a profile right here, and you can add an empty profile, and we're just going to call this mainstream and click OK, and there we go. So you can activate your Loop Deck. It's the stored custom actions. Now we can use any of these buttons to add new functions or features. So let me go through how you do that. Right here are all the Loop Deck features. So if you want to create a keyboard shortcut, open applications, web pages, add sounds, add text, anything like that, you can do all of that stuff and set it up right here. Multi-actions, very useful. I'll show you how to do one of those later. You can even run applications. The OS does very similar things. So if you have stuff, you can copy stuff to the clipboard, paste it. You could basically have all the keyboard numbers programmed in right to your Stream Controller if you wanted to do that. So nearly anything that you wanted to do with your OS, you can do it right here. Very, very cool. Then we have Loop Deck features right here. So here's where you have your navigation stuff. So you can navigate to different pages and that kind of thing. Very simple to set up. You can switch your profile and turn on dynamic mode. They have some other features here. Loop Deck AI Assistant. So you can sign into Loop Deck. I'm not signed in right now, but you can sign in and it just does everything it needs to do. So you can basically have buttons to ask the AI or send selected text to the AI, things like that. It has an automatic plugin for Spotify. If you just sign into your Spotify through here, you're going to be all set there. Here is the OBS one, and you can see that my main stream is up. So all of the scenes that I have in my main stream are in here, all of the sources, all of the audio, and of course then you can also change scene collections if you like as well. Here you can go and toggle different lamps and stuff if you own any of the Philips Hue lamps, which is really cool. Right here you've got Streamlabs, so if you use Streamlabs you can use that the same as you use the OBS one. And then it has a whole bunch of Twitch functions as well. So you can also add different plugins in here. Once you sign in, you have bus loads of different plugins that you can add and download. And this is just some of them. There are many more. These are the ones that are already installed, but you can go ahead and go to Loupedeck's website and stuff, and there are bus loads of different ones you can download. So if you wanted a YouTube one or something like that, those are things that you can definitely download and add. If you were going to use Prism Live Studio, I'm pretty sure they have a profile for Prism Live Studio. So just about everything that you can think of, you can download. So how do you use this? Well, if we want to just change a scene, which is the most simple action, we can go into scenes and we select the scene that we want to change to, and we just drag it over here, and it will give you a icon, and we can go ahead and we can change that icon. It has a selected icon and an unselected icon. So if you are on this scene, the icon would be different than if you were not on this scene. So it lets you know. The unselected is like this dark blue, and the selected is the green. You can go and modify this if you like in the icon library, and you could just select any icon that you want. So we could go with something like that, and you can see that it changes. There is our unselected icon, and so maybe we want our background to be a different color for unselected. So that would be maybe this blue color like that. And then we want our selected icon to be the same icon, but possibly just green. So let's see if we can find that one again. There it is. And we want to make this one green so that we know that this is the selected one. Make it a little lighter green. And there we go. So now we've got two different icons for this one, selected and unselected. We can add text to it so we know that this is the countdown, and we can change the text in there to a bunch of different fonts. We'll try the Arial Black. There we go. We're going to lower this to 30 so that we know we can fit it, and we can drag this right here, and you can see on the button right there it does exactly what it's supposed to do. There we go. Moves our text up to the center of the button, and now if we click that button, it will change us over to that scene in OBS. It's really that simple. So that's how you create a button to change scenes, but you can create buttons to do all kinds of things. Probably the most common thing that you'll do is to have a button that is going to create a series of events. So in my intro, I go from my normal scene, which is just the wait scene, to the countdown, to my Hellashed video, and then my branding video, and then I get dumped into my main scene. So how would we do something like that? Well, it's pretty simple. We're going to go to our customs here, and we want to use a multi-action macro. So we'll just put it wherever we want it right here, and you can see it puts this multi-action thing here. And we're going to name this, and we'll call this open, because I use this on the opening for my live stream. And then all we have to do is drag actions here. So we're going to start every live stream on the same scene. And then from that scene, whenever we're ready to go live, we want it to go to the countdown. So what I would do is now I'm going to go into my OBS, and we're going to find out how long that countdown scene actually is. So you could do that. We're here in the countdown scene, and my countdown right here. If I press play, you can see it playing there. And when I drag this over, it gives me the number of seconds. So this scene is 26 seconds long. So what we want to do is we'll go into our multi-action, and we're going to add another action. We're going to drop this down and select delay. Then we need to add 26 seconds. And there we go. So now we're going to go to another scene. In this case, we've done the countdown, so we want to go to our Hellashed scene. So we just need to go up here and find our Hellashed, and there it is. We'll drag that action down here, and then we need to go and add another action, and we're going to add a delay. so that this video can run. And let's see how long our Hellashed video is. And then we select it right here. And I can click pause, just drag this to the end. We can see that it is 23 seconds long. The 23 seconds. And there we go. Then we're going to add an action after our Hellashed plays. We want our branding bumper to play, so we're going to go up and drag our branding bumper right here. And so after the 23 seconds, it will switch over to the branding bumper, and that is 20 seconds. So we can go back in here, 20 seconds. And then the last thing we want to do is go to our main scene. So it's going to dump us right in to the main scene where we start our live stream. We drag that there and we can click save. Now we can obviously change this so that it's the icon that's interesting to us. So all you have to do is select, we'll use that one, and it's open, which is good. I want to change this to the Arial black because it's a little larger and easier to see. And we'll drag this up here. And we can make the background for this a different color if we like. So we can go ahead and let's add a green to the background of that. And there we go. And save. And save. And there we go. So now we can see that we have our button right here. And all we have to do in order to kick all this off, and let's bring over our OBS and we'll go to our wait screen. There we go. And we're ready to open the stream. All we have to do is click our open button. It will automatically switch over first to our countdown, where it will use that delay for the full length of the countdown timer. And then once the countdown timer is completely finished, it will switch us over to our Hellashed scene. And this will run in its entirety. And then once this is done, it will run the branding bumper scene. And as soon as that's finished, it will kick us off right to our main scene where we can open up our live stream. And there we go. It's really that simple. So some other features that you can use, you have this down here. This is the number of pages. This is the first page. And if we want to add a new page, we can basically, you can see it already adds the next. So if I click it right here on the thing, it will take us to the next page. So if we wanted to set up faces on one page or anything else like that that we want to add, well, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do. And you can switch pages in the software just by clicking on these buttons right here. So it makes it really easy. You can add as many pages as you want to add and you're all set. So you can have one that just has the basic functions for the main part of your live stream. You can have another one that is just music or something like that. If we create another page, you can see that it will just add the next at the bottom. So you can have as many of these as you want. So you can have a soundboard, you can have different faces if you're using something like Snap Camera. You can have a page that is just audio control. Not only that, but you can select or change the names of these sorts of pages so that you can just create buttons that will take you directly to those specific pages. So if you wanted to set up a button right here, you can see that we've got our pages, and right now they're just called touch pages. But if we wanted to name our first page something specific, we can do that. So if we go to our final page and we want to make sure that we can just easily get back to the first page, we can drop that in there and then it will automatically take us right back to the first page. So you can have a page, if you wanted your second page to be just all audio, you can, instead of putting up arrows, you can just put the pages that you want to switch to right in your main scene. So we could basically make the second board a sound page. So we can just grab this and bring it over here, and it will automatically take us to the second page. And then we can add the main page and put our main functions in here so that we can get to our main function anytime we want. Now we have our touch panel for our sound, which we can go to at any time. We could set up our soundboard, and if we wanted maybe the third page to be faces, that's pretty simple. What we could do is go and modify this so it looks like faces or silly characters. We'll use this cat one right here. That will probably work, and we'll put faces, and there we go. We can make the background color something different, so let's make it maybe a dark blue. That looks pretty good. I like that. So there we go. So now anywhere we can put our faces, so we can get right to the faces page. So we can put our faces here. So from any of these pages, this would be the sound page, we could get to the faces page just by clicking the faces button. And then we can put our sound button in here so that we can easily get to the sound page as well. So we can go to the sound page, or we can go to the main page anytime we want. I usually would have another page that would be for the Monica cam. So what we would do is add a new touch page. There we go. So now we've got a Monica cam page, and so on this page we would put a shortcut to our faces, a shortcut to our sound, and a shortcut to our main page. And then on this page we want to put a shortcut to our Monica page, Monica cam page. And on this page we would want to put a shortcut to our Monica cam page. And on this page we would want to put a shortcut to our Monica cam page. So we've got sound, faces, and Monica cam. You can immediately get directly to any of those pages just by pressing this button right here. And that makes it super simple. So now if we wanted to set up sound, we can go and we'll go to Loop Deck, and we'll just drag some sound in here. They already have some stuff set up. So let's call this one Boom. And what we can do is go here. You can see you got a Loop Deck sound pack. Boom, boom. And we can change the icon. I don't really need to change the icon. What I'm gonna do here is maybe make the text a little more interesting and a little more visible. And we'll bring it up here like that. And I think that'll work just fine. So when we go to our sound, we can go ahead and drag our sound in there. And we'll click save. And there we go. There is our sound. If we click it, there we go. We can add as many of these as we want. So how does the Razer Stream Controller X stand up to the Elgato Stream Deck? Well, let's take a look at the pricing. The original Stream Deck is listed for $150, but you can find it for around $120 at the moment. The Stream Deck Mark II is $150, and if I'm being honest, I don't know the difference between the Classic and the Mark II. I'm pretty sure mine is a Classic. The Razer Stream Controller X is listed at $150 for the launch, so the pricing is the same as the Stream Deck Mark II. So is it worth $150? Well, it's as worth $150 as the Stream Deck Mark II is. Which is to say, I think it depends on what you're really looking for. There are some features in the Razer Stream Controller X that I really do like the fact that it has so many features that are already set up. So when I open Premiere Pro to do a little editing, it automatically switches over there with buttons that are right away usable. I wasn't thinking about using it for Premiere Pro, but the fact that it automatically switches over and it's ready to go is really pretty cool. So it has a lot more utility right out of the box than I think the Stream Deck does. But with that extra utility, it comes with a bit more confusion. It is a little bit more quirky to set it up. Once you do, well, you don't have to play around with it all the time. And it literally has all of the same features. And this is why I always say that the Stream Deck is worth it, because the software is incredible. The software is just so easy to use that you never really even have to think about it. And the Razer Stream Controller X has all of the same features and probably more, but it does take a little bit more skill to use. And it probably has more features if you really want to dig in deep. But that's the question. What are you looking to really do with your unit? I think the Stream Deck is an awesome unit for the price. But I absolutely think that the Razer Stream Controller Plus is a good value as well. And the software is incredible. And the things that it can do right out of the box are going to really surprise you. Now you can check out any of the products I talked about today. There is a link in the description. And because you can buy them all on Amazon, guess what? You can basically compare them for yourself if you're really interested in something like this. Now if you want to see my review of the Stream Deck Plus, you should check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.